Good morning, everybody. Just one second as I'm setting this up. I'll get my sound check and everything. Hope you all doing well. I'm just adding my final notes here before we get this thing started. Sorry, I should have got that done beforehand. Either way, happy to be on tonight to share the next chapter in our book club. It's gonna be a banger. Well, they're all good. It is now, finishing up Sunday, finishing up our weekend. Hope your weekend was blessed. Hope you did something amazing with your family. Hope you went to church, got your worship on. I spent time with my family and I needed to do that. It's been a while. And celebrated my birthday. So there's that. Just about done, guys. Just getting my final notes up here. Again, I apologize. It should have been done already. But if you don't know, this is a book club channel. It's all about motivation. It's all about self-improvement, self-development. It's about getting better. The more you work on yourself, man, the better you'll be able to impact other lives. Because if you're not making an impact, what is the purpose, really? You might just not. Well, let me not say that. Just a couple more here. All right, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Big Money Meni book club. And if you don't know, we are reading Bedros Keuilian's Man Up. And this is chapter 9. Picking the right purpose is very important. It is crucial in your journey. You got to know why you do something, man. You got to have a purpose behind it. You can't just jump behind an idea, jump on a train of action without a plan. You got to have a plan, but before all that, you guys have to have some purpose behind it. All right, there goes my last piece of notes right here. So again, welcome back to the channel. This is called Picking a Just Right Purpose. A just right purpose. And I just got done reading this chapter right before. If you don't know how I do things, I read a chapter in this book and throw down some notes real quick, and then I start sharing live. And my hopes is that I can inspire people to get to reading. You know what I mean? Fill your mind with something positive. There's a lot of negative stuff out there. And some of you don't realize how negative it is, the things that you're filling your mind with on social media and off that dreaded TV. Get away from that television, guys. It's not doing anything good for you. Anyways, I'm David Meni, aka Big Money Meni. Like and share the channel, subscribe. And this chapter today is picking a just right purpose. And I gotta say, it's a doozy, man, because being a business owner, an entrepreneur, I watch people come and go. And I gotta say, one of the biggest things that keeps people from really thriving in their choice of business, in their entrepreneur, whatever business venture they're getting into, one of the biggest things that keeps people from really excelling and not even being successful, but at least surviving. I mean, if you gotta survive at least, you know, you gotta have a purpose, the right purpose. Don't just throw something out there either. You gotta put some thought behind this. And this is true. I gotta say, because we have people come in and they throw some crazy goals out there. Sorry, I need to finish up setting up my lighting, none of that. So they'll throw some goals out there, things that sound good and things that would be amazing if they can get it done. But because their purpose has not been defined, we see people leave, we see people quit, we see people fail. And so there's a science behind it, picking the right purpose. So reading the chapter starts off with Bedros Keuilian talking about how he was expelled in this halfway through his freshman year over a fight that he says he didn't start. You know, a lot of people will say that when they get into a fight. I can really relate to this guy in this chapter. I fought a lot in school. You know, you can ask my mom how many times they were called and, you know, told like, hey, your son got into another fight. I dealt with a lot of bullies and I didn't stand for it. You know, my dad taught me, if they make fun of you, you know, just brush it off. But once they mention your mom, you go ahead and knock some sense into them. But yeah, I've been in so many fights in school. I even remember one of the kids that I got in a fight with, and they're all bullies. I didn't just fight somebody just because. I remember fighting a kid, middle school. He was being a bully, and I got called to the principal's office a week later. Says, hey, so-and-so's dad is here to talk to you, and the principal wants you in his office. So I went over there. Turned out the kid I fought was a pastor's son, and the pastor wanted to know who was beating up on his precious little boy. And so they called me to the office. I'm not knowing what's going on, and I'm terrified. This pastor was huge, big, tall fella, African American, and I was a little intimidated. And his son was over there looking like the most innocent person in the world, you know, trying to twist the story as if I was the one being the bully. When you grow up as a heavyweight kid, yeah, you deal with that a lot. Anyways, the principal had my back. Said, yeah, David got I remember his words exactly. David's record's pretty squeaky clean, you know. And so, anyways, that was that. But Bedros Keuilian talks about how he got into a fight and was expelled from high school. The high school he was going to had a zero tolerance for fighting, so he was out. And what happened is he had to go to a new school, right? Had to go to a new school and start all over, making new friends and all that. And so, you know, if you've ever had to move or change schools, you know how that is. I've done it before, moving to Sacramento, and it's not fun. Definitely not fun. But yeah, he had to go through that whole thing. Let me check something real quick. I apologize. I had to make sure the sound was good. So, yeah, he got in a fight, was kicked out, had to go to a new school, make new friends, and he said that it was difficult because he wasn't Mr. Popularity. Uh, he said it was partly because he was an overweight kid. Uh, And he goes through details, and he was 30 pounds overweight, 30 pounds of extra fat. He had no confidence. Said he had man boobs. He had it over his belly was over his belt line. And he just wasn't into exercising. He was eating very eating a lot of junk food. He wasn't eating well. He says that when you grow up being poor, you just ate whatever you could. Whatever was on your plate, you ate. And so that was his life. And I can definitely relate. You know what I mean? When you don't have money to purchase healthy foods, and maybe I'm making an excuse, but he says that he would just eat whatever he could get his hands on, and that it was a scarcity mindset because he grew up poor. If you remember the early chapters of this book, these guys are foreigners coming from another country. His dad was able to arrange for them to make their way out of a communist country and come over to the United States, and they started off here in Orange County, just down the street from where we're at. And so he had the scarcity mindset, right? Just eating what we could to survive. That was his way of operating. So he was overweight, and he wasn't happy about it. And his confidence was directly linked to that body. And I can understand, I mean, growing up as a heavy kid, I know how hard that could be. You tend to make friends with the other overweight kids. It's kind of how that happens. But he said his sophomore year, going into his junior year, he connected his looks to his weight. He connected to his looks and to his weight. That can easily affect one's confidence, especially without that positive reinforcement from whoever his parents are. But he said, thankfully, one of the students in the sophomore science class, Darren, he says, was a football player. He got selected to be his lab partner. And because of his interest, he said this is all because of a girl. He said, honestly, I was asking him because there was a girl, right? And he said he had a massive crush on her. And he was asking his friend Darren, hey, I really want to lose weight. I want to get into shape. I just don't know how. And so Darren kind of took him under his wing, took him to the school gym, taught him to work out. He says he remembers pushing the bar at a bench press with no weights on it, and he could barely push it up. The bar was wobbly, and again, I'm relating to him because I started football late and not knowing much about the game and not knowing how, I didn't even know what season it was, what months it was that we were going to play. That's why I went to high school thinking, I'm going to go sign up for football. And then everybody's like, hey, you're kind of late. And so I started playing the next year. But I remember the kids had an advantage because they've been in football. They've been working out. They'd have family to get them through that process. I didn't really have that growing up. So he says Darren took him under his wing and was showing them how to work out. And he said, you got to eat less carbs, eat more protein, and so Darren was able to be there for him. Right. So anyway, his thinking was he had to make a change. Right. He said, I wanted to take this girl to prom the following year, but looking the way that I did, I knew I couldn't. So I had to get myself in shape so that I can ask her out to prom. So this was his motivation to lose weight and be attractive to this girl that he wants to take out to prom. It sounds funny. This is his goal as a young teenager. He said Darren tried to help him, and because he couldn't lift that bar, he said that he felt defeated and he didn't stick to it. Right. And so this right here, I highlighted this because this is all about self-improvement, guys. This is about working on ourselves, developing ourselves so we can get better and just thrive whatever you're doing, right? At your job, at your business, in your family, in your leadership role. And right here, I highlighted this. I felt defeated and I didn't stick to it. And here's the thing. When people start something, everybody wants to be successful, right? But you have to get punched in the mouth a couple times, man. You're going to have to feel defeat. You're going to have to go through that. That's just part of the game. And a lot of people feel just that little bit of, discomfort and right away drop it. You know what I mean? They leave it. They give up. right? And so he said he was told how to eat better. He said he tried that too, but he gave it up easily. And he said honestly, he was just too lazy. He said I was lazy to do the work, even though I wanted the results badly. All right, and that right there is an honest statement that most people, need to grasp. Man, I mean, everybody wants the results, but nobody wants to do the work for it. Right? He said honestly, I was just too lazy. And the summer came before senior year. He said when that summer came, it was a wake up call and sort of a precursor to this whole manning up process. So Darren had given him the roadmap and even walked him down the road a few steps. But he said, but my laziness meant that although senior year was approaching, he was feeling no closer to achieving that prom date that he wanted so badly. Right. And so it was the next 90 days. It was 90 days until he started school and he decided to go all in. Right. Now, here's what I love his plan. This is like that movie, where the hero faces defeat and then starts to make the change and really changes up the process of training and all that stuff. So he says he went and bought himself a bunch of muscle and fitness magazines, and they all those magazines, the content of those magazines lit a fire under him. All right, and so I highlighted this. He said, I studied those magazines. I learned the movements, the intervals, the different lifts and exercises. I worked out for 4 days and took 1 day off, which is called a 4-day split. I changed my diet. I lived on canned tuna and green apples. I kept carbs to just before and after my workouts. I ate only proteins and veggies all the rest of the day. And through all that work, I lost the 30 pounds of extra fat and came back to school a new man. So that's like that part of that whatever movie you're watching, right? Where they change up their whole regime. And I highlighted this, I studied those magazines. I learned the movements, the intervals, the different lifts and exercises, because that's the next step. When you come in, it cannot just be, here's my goal and I'm going to fight every day until I achieve that goal. All right. You gotta figure out what works and what doesn't. You got to figure out the right way to do it. You got to take on knowledge that other people who's already been there, people that have already done it, right, and learn from it. That's why it's so important that you self-improve. This is why we have this channel, this book club channel, because it's all about learning from people who are already successful, already where you want to be, so that when you get to this journey, you want to take the long route and make mistakes along the way, or would you rather learn from someone who's already tripped and fell all over the place and can turn around and show you, say, look, this is what you got to do. Watch out here, take care of yourself here, be careful here, be cautious here, all right, and do this, do that. It works. It's worked for me. They've already tried things out that don't work, and they can let you know, save you some time, all right. And so I love how he went and bought material to help him, to inspire him, right? Magazines. He said he learned the movements, the intervals, the different lifts and exercises. I think that's awesome. So he comes back to school a new man, right? And he's excited. He said the good news is that the feeling of being disciplined stuck, and I think that's phenomenal. As a person who's tried many diets and reverted, I can tell you, man, I give it up to people who have that discipline to work out all the time and just really, they stick to that. That's just not my forte, but I got something I definitely am going to fix and want to fix, right? It's just a different discipline I need to take on, something I have not mastered quite yet. My strengths are in other areas, but he says the good news is that the feeling of being disciplined stuck. He says, I loved it. I loved the process of working out. I loved keeping a workout log, planning out my meals. And he said it all gave me some hope that I wasn't a fat, lazy, undisciplined foreigner kid who would never make anything of himself. I think that's amazing. And so that 90-day summer of pain, where he went all in and working out, changed my trajectory forever. All right. And I think I had to stop there and take those and highlight that because my coach's coach talks about the next 90 days. The next 90 days. If you got something you got to fix, if you have a goal that you want to achieve, right? Or something that you want to master, it says, figure out what you got to do, get to work, and in 90 days, watch where you're going to be at. He said things will be different. Okay, next 90 days. Next 90 days. That's been his talk for this whole 8 years I've been working with him. Watch the next 90 days. Watch how amazing things are going to be in 90 days from now. Once you decide to change things up and you figure out what you got to do, what you got to get going, what you got to fix. Watch how it's going to be in 90 days. That's amazing. He said the bad news. He said the bad news is I never asked the girl to the prom. So reading on, he said in the back of those muscle magazines was an ad, and it said get certified as a personal trainer, get $100 an hour training clients. And so he did the math in his head very quickly and thought this is a gold mine, or at least it was compared to my prospects all at the time. So my life was looking like it was going to be a lot like my family's, right? Which is graduate high school and be a car mechanic. And he says it wasn't a bad gig at all. He said, I like cars, but it paid very little. But by spending that summer working out and coming across that ad in the back of a magazine, out of all places, right? It opened up the door to becoming a fitness coach, all of which led me to the work that I do now. I think that's amazing because in business, you got to take the time to invest, right? To invest in ways of marketing your business and advertising on the back of a magazine. To me, I don't think that would attract what I'm looking for as far as people that I want to work with. I wouldn't go that route. But just to see that it was one of those small advertisements in the back of the magazine that really inspired him and changed up everything in his life and opened that door, he says, to becoming a fitness coach, all of which led me to the work that I do now. I think that's amazing. The things that happen in people's life that changes them and causes them to make an impact, down the line. I think that's just amazing. You never know. You never know what could be the changing factor. You never know what could inspire somebody. It could be the smallest thing, and like I'll tell you guys, if you see my office, if you see some of my videos, you see right here, there's no zebra thing. I have this affinity for zebras, and I never used to. I think, growing up, I thought they were the stupidest animals, weak, victim, prey, dinner. That's what I thought when I thought about the zebra. One day I'm gonna share another video and explain what that means to me and how it kept me going. Right, to be 8 years in business, and so you never know what could be the thing that gets somebody going. You never know, so that you gotta always keep your antennas up, always constantly be talking about business, or constantly talking about your opportunity. If that's something that if you're trying to grow, talk about what you're going to be doing, your plans. You never know what's going to inspire someone to be a part of what you want to do. They hear you excited and they'll say, hey man, you sound like, you got things going. I want to know more about it. All right. Reading on, it says my purpose when I started out seems so small. It was just get fit so I can get the girl. Right. And it seems small compared to the size and reach of my business today, which is an international fitness franchise. But the truth is, when I was in high school, getting the prom date seemed like a big purpose to me. I was overweight. I had self-esteem issues. I had all kinds of insecurities, which is another big thing because you never know, something that's easy for you to overcome might be the hardest thing for someone else. So you always got to be mindful, right, of others and the struggles that they're going through. Something that could be simple to you could be very difficult to someone else. And so he says, it's funny, but those small goals were like the biggest things to him when he was younger. Uh, Reading on, it says, so the idea of getting a six pack and asking the girl out to the prom were big and inspiring and earth shaking purposes to him. All right. So there you go. And he says, and you know what? They led to action. Now that's the big thing. It might seem silly to you that the simple goal of losing weight to attract this girl that he wants to take out to prom, you might think it's a funny thing, a silly thing, cute thing, but it's the thing that caused him to lead to action. I did something, he says. I learned how to eat right and go to the gym consistently. I could have used the language, he said, I couldn't have used the language of purpose or discipline back then, right? Few high schoolers can, right? I love that. He says he couldn't speak the language of success, but I knew somewhere in my gut that the workouts connected to weight loss and the weight loss connected to the prom date, all right? So he says that path, started with goal that has led me to inspire, coach, and equip millions of people, right? So it was just that little thing that caused him to take action. And because he took action, that little goal, it led him to inspire people, to coaching people, and equipping millions of people to also go and lose weight, to drop the fat, get in the best shape of their lives. He says, my path led me to owning and operating a personal training business, something that I did so well that other personal trainers soon came to me for advice and asking me for coaching in their own businesses. That's amazing. How something small turned into an international business venture. I think that's amazing. This is why we share these stories, man, because I hope to inspire somebody out there, someone who has a seed in them that wants to do something major. They just don't know where to go. I hope I can help equip you by sharing these stories, because it definitely is touching me. So he says, but I didn't start out knowing that would happen. All right. So again, you never know the things that you do, how they might impact someone else, and what might come out of it. He didn't know he was that simple little goal of losing weight as a kid would end up being an international venture, causing him to impact millions of people. He didn't know that. All right. And he says that Steve Jobs said in his now famous commencement speech, you're only going to be able to connect the dots looking backwards. Right. And just knowing along your journey what caused you to move here, what caused you to do this, what caused you to change, right? By looking backwards and connecting the dots. I did not know then, and I couldn't have known then, that my purpose would go from trying to find a date to building a massive fitness empire. Amazing. He said, I went from changing my own body to changing the health and fitness of people in my community. And I highlighted that because here's the thing. When you work on yourself to get, and you thrive to get better, you're going to impact people. You're going to help people. People are going to be inspired by you, whether you're directly contacting them or it is by, just people watching you move, watching you do things, right? Watching you post stuff on social media, watching you develop and gain results. You're going to impact other people. That's why it's so important to be an example and just act as if, when no one's watching. You still got to be at work. When no one's watching and no one's commenting you, when no one is complimenting you, saying, hey, I see you, bro, you're doing good. You got to act as if, what you're doing is going to help somebody else, that you're leading by an example, that their eyes are on you. You got to act like that. Right. And because you are going to inspire people negatively and positively, because people see. All right. So he says, I didn't know that, just losing weight and achieving that success would one day inspire people. And now he's helping people as a community. Now he's helping people worldwide. His business is global. I mean, it's international. I don't like the word global, but he says when he first got certified as a personal trainer at the high school, he found clients the old-fashioned way, word of mouth. One client would recommend him to the next and to the next and to the next, right? So that's how he drove his business. And he says he came home. He even drove to visiting clients at their home and training them there, charging $11 an hour. But when you factor in the drive, he was barely making over minimum wage at the time. And so that led him to joining one of the big box gyms and becoming a personal trainer there, which is where his life continued to change, because there's where he met his mentor, Jim Franco, which we read about him in one of the earlier chapters. Jim Franco made such an impact on Bedros Keuilian, and that's why we're reading this book now. But my journey wasn't done yet, and I hadn't quite developed the purpose that I have now, though I was well on my way. And he says, I started out as a personal trainer with a dream of helping clients lose weight and regain confidence, the confidence that they had lost, just like I had done for myself. And as I journeyed through this dream, it evolved into a passion for helping other people and helping other trainers to grow their businesses by acquiring more clients, thus having a broader impact on a larger number of people worldwide. All right. And so I was meant for more than what my initial vision had entailed. And I highlighted that because that's something I have grasped. I mastered that idea, that concept, right? And I want you to have that same understanding for yourself. I need you to know that you are meant for more. You're meant to do greater things. You're meant to do so much more than what you're already doing now. I don't know too many people that are working to their fullest potential. I don't know too many people that are really maxing out on all that they can do. I really don't. You know, I see people doing great. I see people doing some amazing things. But to see someone really living out, there's more people, the majority of people that we see in life are not living to their fullest potential. And the reason why is because they don't know that they can do more. And if they do have some sort of inkling to that idea, I don't see it in them. It's not very apparent. And I think that's because there's not enough people telling them that you can do more, that you have so much more potential. You know, and that's why I highlighted this, because he said I was meant for more than what my initial vision entailed. If there's no one there to teach you and tell you that you've got more potential to you, that you have so much more talent than you ever thought possible, I want to tell you that now. You know, you gotta break free from the old you and just know how great you are. And I don't even know who might be watching and who might not have that understanding, but I want you to have that understanding, because same God that made me is the same God that made you. Same God that made all the legends that we've experienced through life, in sports, in whatever arena, whatever field. You know, so you got to know that you are from that same creator, and you got to know how great you are, right? So he says his purpose changed with the seasons and chapters of his life. And that's true. You know what I mean? Like, you start off trying to, whatever it is your path is, you start off with a purpose, but it's going to be changed. It's going to advance. It's going to evolve as things happen, as families grow, as you grow, as you go through new situations and new phases in your life. Your purpose will change as the chapters of your life. And he says, I don't know what I'll be doing in 10 years, but I can promise you that I'll be gaining momentum, expanding, changing more lives, adding more value to the world than I am today. And that's a great vision for yourself. I love that attitude. I wish more people to have that attitude about themselves. You might not know where you're going and what you're going to be doing and where exactly you're going to be working, where exactly you're going to be living. He says, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 10 years, but I promise you I will be gaining momentum, expanding, changing more lives, and adding more value to the world than I am right now, than I am today. That's amazing. He says, I'm a coach, and I will always be. I started off coaching people on their fitness goals. Then I started to coaching trainers on their businesses so that they could reach and help more people with their fitness and fat loss services. As the word got out that I was a good business coach and I was able to lead my clients to success and profits, more business from other industries came to me for help. Today, I'm still a coach. Only thing is that I'm coaching big businesses and big businesses and oh my goodness, emerging franchises. Getting tongue tied over here. And I coach the masses from the stage as a keynote at business conferences. He says there's a reason why I'm sharing all of this. Okay. And you can't know what your ultimate purpose will look like. So in the moment, you should choose a purpose that is powerful enough for you to get to take your action. So we started off this chapter telling you that I've seen a lot of people quit in business. I've seen a lot of people fail in business. I see a lot of people get excited, and as soon as they hit, one bump in the road, boom, they're gone, right? And that's because their purpose was not selected correctly. Some people come in and they're just getting started, and they choose the biggest goal, and when they don't reach that biggest goal, they say, it doesn't work, right? But he says you can't do that, right? You can't know what your ultimate purpose will look like in the moment. So you have to choose a purpose that is powerful enough for you to get to take action. Like we talked about, he said that he didn't know his weight loss and goal of trying to get that date for the prom next year would cause him to grow that business, but it wasn't enough. It's that little simple goal of losing the 30 pounds is not enough for him to grow a global franchise, but it was enough to get him started. It was enough to get him to take action. It was enough to get his feet moving, right? To start gaining momentum. So he says you can't choose the purpose, right? You can't, in the moment, you should choose a purpose that is powerful enough for you to start taking action. He says I think a lot of people get this wrong. Absolutely. I'm with them 100% on that. A lot of people get this wrong. Either they set the bar so low that they can clear it easily, or they choose something so impossible that they get discouraged at the first sign of failure. Exactly what we were just talking about. So he says you have to pick something in the just right sweet spot, right? Something in the just right sweet spot, big enough to get you moving, but small enough to be realistic. Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. All right, big enough to get you moving, but small enough to be realistic. So don't stretch right away for the biggest goal. Just what do we need to get us going to the next level, right? And something that is absolutely achievable. So get something that's realistic. Pick a goal that sets you up in the morning, that gets you up in the morning and doesn't stop you in your tracks. I'd suggest a goal that is right in front of your nose, right? So it doesn't have to be, the biggest thing when you set your goal. Just get something that's right in front of your nose. Um, do you need to lose weight? Get on it. Read magazines. Download a Picking a Just Right app. Hit the gym. Hire a trainer or coach. Get started. Do you need to improve on your relationships? Go for it. Read books. Find a counselor or a therapist, right? But start the work. Do what you need to do to widen your, like if you need to widen your skill set better or perform to better perform in your career, don't waste another day. Read articles. Sign up for an online course. Talk to someone in your field. Action is the path to passion. Action is the path to passion, not the other way around. That's amazing. I love that. Action is the path to passion, not the other way around. And it says, in my case, my purpose was to get a prom date, and that led me to action. Little did I know that this one little thing would lead me to love and embrace fitness and ultimately develop it into my purpose in life. That's the big lesson here. All right, it says that's the big lesson here. You're not going to find your purpose in life. You're going to develop it as you go through life. That's huge. You're not going to find your purpose in life. You're going to develop it as you go through life. Right. So right now, maybe you don't know what that ultimate purpose is for you, right? And what you're supposed to be doing in this life. Right. But that will develop. Right. So you just got to go through the motions, do what what it pushes you, what inspires you, what gets you moving, right? You know, shout out to my wife, man. My babe. Action is the path to passion. Yes, is the path to passion, right? Getting your feet moving. Get your feet moving and watch how you'll develop. Your purpose will come. Things will fall in place. And maybe you don't have the fullest understanding. Maybe it's not so very clear. Maybe it's not very apparent. But if you stick to it, right? Stick to it and watch. It'll show up in your life, right? And the purpose will be there. So that's the chapter, guys. Selecting the just right purpose, right? Making sure that it's just right. It's not too big, but it's not small and easy as well, right? It's just right. And here's our exercise for the chapter, guys. So, exercise for chapter 9 is spend some time thinking about that purpose, making sure that it's just right. Something that isn't impenetrably large, but also something that isn't so easy you can knock it over within the next week. Right. So I love that our coach, he's always on us when it comes to selecting our goals and making sure that it's not out of proportion. Right. Not something that, but it's definitely supposed to be something that stretches us. He says, what does that purpose look like for you? And why is that your purpose? And finally, here's the last one. How will it feel? Sorry. How will it feel when you're doing it full time and reaching your potential with it? All right. So again, what does your purpose look like for you? Why is that your purpose? And how will it feel when you're doing it full time and reaching your potential with it? Definitely one of our goals to get both me and my wife full time in business again. But I'm excited about you all who get a chance to watch this video. I pray that you do find your purpose. I pray that something here has inspired you today to really change this up, really assess what you got going on in your life. Is it working towards your purpose? Are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you doing that kind of job that's just fluff, what you learned about earlier in this book? Are you doing just the work that's not necessary, or are you really working to fulfill your purpose? Whatever it is, man, I pray God is merciful. He's always merciful on you. But I pray that you are doing well. I pray that you are praying as well. And I want to, just let anybody out there, I'm not doing my job enough as a Christian to let you know that God loves you, right? And the blood of Jesus covers all and forgives all. And I pray you're doing well. Reach out to us to the channel if you have any questions, you have any suggestions, if you have a prayer request, or if you just want to, show some love. Hey, we're all willing, we're all accepting of that. Thank you guys so much. I also want to give a shout out to my family who hosted me over at my mom's house for my birthday. Really enjoyed my time. Shout out to my wife and our new team members and our coaches. We had a great weekend in business as well. So very grateful, very fortunate. I'm a blessed person, guys. I just so thankful and grateful this morning, this evening. And I pray that this channel will just reach out to whoever needs to hear it, whoever needs that motivation, whoever needs that pick me up, and whoever doesn't realize that they're not living to their full potential. May this message find you. Hope you're doing well. God bless y'all. Have a great night.